Okay, so we have now got our piece that we've already blocked, and then I've got a button piece that I want to show you and just block with this one as well, because this is much more difficult than the other one that we just did, because that's a bit flatter. So I'm going to work with this one with you, and if you've got a button block, then block your felt on first, then take it off and stiffen that, then put it back on, leave that to dry, and then you can get your leather like we are getting and block that on top. I'll quickly as well show you this one. So this is the one that we were blocking and we were using, and this is looking nice. So I've just taken this off, I've taken the pins out and just taken that off, and in a minute I'm going to show you what to do next, because we'll need to be wiring this one. We also need to cut off some of the excess. So here we've got too much. And under here I'm going to cut away some of this felt in here, just so we have a straight edge so we can sew the wire to it, and then we can fold this inside. But so far it's looking good. This is actually a velour leather, so as soon as you touch it, it does make little marks. If I sweep it this way, it'll go lighter, and it'll just sort of change colour as I'm sweeping it. So this one is a little bit more difficult to work with. If you're going to get this one, it is from McCulloch & Wallace, and it's the velour leather, but it's really lovely because it's really soft. But you can get other soft leathers, but it's fine because it's just going to give a nice detail, and I can just brush it. And if you do get a little line mark on there, I don't know if you can see, I've got a little line I've just made with my nail, that will go away again when it just settles. So it's as if it's got a little layer on there, a little pile. Which is moving. So anyway, we're going to work with that one afterwards, but right now we're going to do the button one, and we're going to cover this in leather. So I need to just take out these pins first, and in here I've got leather already soaking. So I actually laid this leather over, I've made sure I've got enough excess to be able to cut some off, and then I've put that in water like we did before with the other one. So I let that sit in there for about 5 to 10 minutes. It must have been in there for about 10 minutes already. And just take these pins out so then we can block on it. Save those for later. Now take this out and ring it. I don't want too many drips everywhere. I just want it to be pliable and able to use. So now we can stretch this over. This one, because it's a button block, it doesn't have a front and a back. So we're just going to pull, it doesn't have sides and front and back. So we're just going to, pull some of the sides, and then we're going to pull the alternate sides. So this one first. This is the easy bit because, we're not worrying about any of the corners. It's when we want to get rid of the corners, it's going to be hard because we have to pull them right underneath. I'm going to pin in as far as I can because I don't want to see any of the pin marks, and they will show up. On this one, we can see pin marks in there. So I don't want to really be seeing those. So I'm going to use it on a bit of leather, which is not showing. And make sure you've got it in the right place and you've got enough underneath to pull underneath, because you don't want to be moving it around too much, because otherwise you might then see the pin marks. So this side, I'm just stretching this. I love the way it just stretches over. The skin comes over and it just looks really nice and shiny. Nice look. Push that in underneath. So we've done 2 sides there. My pin's coming out because this felt is quite thick, so you might find that the pins fall out easily. And then I do my other 2 sides. So I'm pulling at the point. Imagine this is your 2 sides, this is your front and back. It's not really because it's round, but just imagine that for now. So if I'm pulling the top of the front, then I'm not just pulling that, I'm just sort of easing in the sides as well at this point, because I don't want to make it more difficult for myself to be able to get rid of all of this excess at the end of the day by, unpinning. I mean, I will have to do some of that, but I want to try and get rid of it, as much of it as possible right now. So if I can just pull here and then pull some of the sides into that direction, it'll make it a little bit easier later on. And if you start seeing pleats, you can just wriggle it slightly just to try and get those pleats out. And gathering it up. I don't want to see anything here, but it doesn't matter too much if you're seeing it underneath, because we'll push that inside anyway later on. Just want to get rid of as much as possible. So I'm just putting those in here. And then the last side. So pull that over, and then I'm going to pull a little bit from each side in as well. I'm just sort of pulling it in together. Okay, now here comes the tricky bit. We've got the corners, we have to get rid of that. Right, so we've done some of it, and now we've got the corners. So we've done the front and the back and two sides, and I've done a little bit, and now we've got all the corners to work on. So these, we need to pull them in. It's still wet, so that's good. It's still okay. It's going to take a while to dry, so I can still work with it, and I can pull it a little bit and stretch it whilst it's damp. So we've got this far. Now this little section here, just pulling in the middle, and then I'm going to pull some of the side bits in to see how much I can get underneath, and then push my pins right into the felt. So same like we're blocking cinema, it's just trickier to get rid of all the little bumps. So I've just got one little bump here, another one here, another little dent here. So I'm going to try and get rid of these afterwards. I'm just going to go round again and pull again after I've done it once. So the first time we'll just try our best. What I'm doing is pulling it, putting my thumb on it, and then pulling the next section to get it as smooth as possible. So trying to get it as smooth as possible and stick my pins right inside. I don't really want them, so that one's a bit dodgy because I don't really want them on this side because we might see this. So I want to get all of the pleats and all of the pins right into this section in here. So I'm pulling there, and I can see I've got a big pleat here. So I'm just going to wriggle that one a little bit and pull some of it left and some of it into the right. So I've pulled all of that left, and then if I wanted to pull it right, I'd have to take this pin out and pull some of it right and see, so it's to the right. Looking all right at on the front. It'll be good if you've got some leather and you've got your button block and you've got everything done and you're doing this with me. So if you can just, get your felt together, get your felt blocked, get the stiffener on it, get your leather. And if you're doing it with me, when you come up with these little issues, then I'm here to sort of, you can listen to my voice as you're doing it. Might help. See how that is lovely and smooth? That's what we want to be happening. I've got these little wrinkles here. We have to pull these out. And then we've done the first round then. So this here, you think, how are you going to get rid of all of that? But it's just stretch and then it's pulling it in. It doesn't really have a weave, but still we can pull some of it in together. We're pushing it together. So we can stretch it and we can push it together. A bit like felt. So that's got rid of it nicely. Then we can look at all of that and see if there's anything that's gone wrong, if there's any extra we need to pull. So I can just see some tiny little grooves in here or little pleats that maybe I can get rid of. And over here some of the pins are coming out, so we need to push those in a bit firmer. So we just have a look around and see what else I can do. So let's work on this bit and just get it all a little bit more perfect, and then we can leave it to dry. Okay, I think that's the best that we're going to get it for now. I just want to make sure these pins are staying in a little bit more, and then we can leave that overnight to dry, come back to it tomorrow and see how it's all looking.